So, I mean, this question is for both of you, really, considering you both speak multiple languages and more than two, really. And maybe you might not consider yourself a expert in all of them, but you have a very good working knowledge of several different languages. How do you think that helps you in your role as a PR person in general? And I don't even specifically mean dealing with international content. What I'm getting at is you have some sort of extra sense of the craft of communication because you have to see it in so many different languages. So how do you think that's helped your career in general? I'll throw it to you, Ricardo, first.
Sure. It definitely helps. I get on calls often, and if I'm ready to speak, with guys in Chile or Peru in Spanish, they will feel more relaxed and more comfortable, and they perhaps will look at me as, I'm one of them. I'm from a neighbor country, and the relationship gets immediately a little warmer, and we people are usually, of course, more comfortable speaking their native languages. So it creates a different bond, uh, really. So that's helpful. It's helped me in my job, supporting American organizations, mostly in Latin America, so that creates that bridge a little more easily.
Mm. What about you, Mariana?
Yeah, I would totally agree. People feel comfortable when they are comfortable, they talk more. They give you more details. You learn more about that story, whatever story you're trying to get from their person, either how a machine works or, you know, whatever. Like in our position as like writers of storytellers, it's very important to get this connection.
Mm. What advice would you have for people entering the industry, or maybe they're already in PR and international appeals to them? What advice would you give them?
Sorry, can I compliment in that answer too? Because
Yes.
yeah, now that we can edit. Um, no, I also think that knowing other languages, start again. Knowing other languages also helps us to understand. I think not it's because, as I said, it's not only the language, it's the culture. Like have been living in other countries and having contact with people from other places, it kind of helps you understand better what is going on, being more, you know, having a sense of how things work, being more tolerant, but also like working better. To work, it helps, at least for me, I think it helps me work better because you are not set in that like little square, like it opens your vision and your horizons, and you see that, yeah, things can be done and said in different ways.
Mm. So, what advice would you give young people coming into PR that might want to work in international PR, or maybe someone who's been in the industry that this appeals to and wants to make a change?
Well, I would say just bring your best self to work every day and be likable and be in good spirits. I think, of course, you get a lot more out of people and a lot more people wanting to work with you if they want, if they like you genuinely. I always like to start a conversation or a meeting with people that I haven't met before, asking what they do at the organization and where they are physically. Like, what town are you? Where do you live? Like, where are you in that specific country? And how are things locally? How are things? Sometimes people have a lot on their minds in terms of just what's going on in their immediate kind of universe. So I think it just creates an immediate connection. I am just naturally curious. I want to know where people uh, live and how they go about their days, and how they approach their work, really. So I think I always take and that's a Brazilian thing, and that's a Latin American thing. I think you don't go straight to business. I think I heard from an American journalist who was interviewing um, business people in Brazil, and he said that he learned that quick, that you can't just get to a meeting and you're offered coffee, you take coffee, you talk for 5 minutes before you get to business. You don't say, okay, let's get straight to it. That's a bad pass. Like, it's a bad move with someone from Brazil. That I know for sure, and I think that's the case in a lot of countries.
Yeah. What about you, Mariana? Any advice for people?
Yeah, I would think like, yeah, be open to what is different, right? Like this kind of thing. If you don't expect people or things to go the way you're used to, because people from different places of the world, they react and they think differently. Be curious, as there's so much to learn. I think PR, what I love about PR is that you are always learning something new. We always have a different client in a different industry, and sometimes things are totally, you never thought you were gonna be talking about it one day in your life, and then few months down the road, there you are, like sounding like an expert at a family's dinner. And be humble too. Be humble, because even with a lot of experience, I started in PR after having like a good amount of experience in journalism, but and then you're all of a sudden like starting something totally new. So you need to be asking and hearing, like ears open to hear what people have to tell you, to teach you. You're always learning.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think my advice for people that want to work in international PR is, well, for one, get ready for some early meetings and some late meetings, right? And in particular for North America, it means you're going to have some 7 and 8 a.m. meetings, because then it's the middle of the day in England and towards the end of the day in Asia. And I mean, maybe that's not obvious, but you do have to be a bit flexible in that, right? So working across time zones is always something you have to be mindful of, right? And so that might mean you need to get up at 6 a.m. and get the workout in and the coffee in to be ready for the 8 a.m. meeting. Not waking up 2 minutes before, right? Because you do need to be mindful that you want to be at your best whenever you're working. And so you need to build that into your schedule. And then I do think one thing that translates across all languages is good storytelling still, right? So it needs to be adapted, but the focus is still on what's a good story. What's the challenge? What's the solution? What's the before? What's the after? The cause and effect? And how do you tell that story in a human way with characters and showing people's expertise and building trust among an audience. So the fundamentals, I think, are still there, right? No matter what language you're working in. So being a good storyteller is paramount. And then you can always have partners and translation agencies and local people to help you adapt that content. But if you focus on telling a good story, that's still the most high value skill that a PR person is going to have. And then, yeah, I think being open to experiences, like you say, Mariana, so you'll get to travel internationally. And a lot of that, I think, means like letting go of control. You're not sure where you're going to be or what you're going to eat or, what the routine's going to be like. But if you let go and take it all in and live in the moment, um, it can be an amazing experience. And really, it's an amazing career to be able to work internationally and talk with people from around the world and learn about their cultures and hear their languages and see them at trade shows and have meals with people and dance with people sometimes, right? It's funny, in business, you end up with dancing with people sometimes. Strange.
Or in
But
a bus where everybody's dancing, right, Damian?
Or on a bus. That's right. We have some good video clips of people dancing on buses. Yeah. I feel like it might take too long to explain that particular scenario, but hey, after the trade show and after the dinners, people have a drink or two. Everyone wants to have some fun because they're in a new country, or maybe they're in Vegas, or they're in Munich, or they're in London, and that's some of the best times to get to know people, right? And
Yeah.
is the fun times at night, and you know, the way Germans like to party is a lot different than the way Brazilians like to party, isn't it?
Yeah, but we all have fun together.
But we all have fun together. So on that note, let's wrap it up. And thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.